By the time the bridge was begun, a ferry service had been running across the Firth of Forth at Queensferry for almost 1,000 years. At its peak, the service ran every 15 minutes.
4 boats, they ran till the end of the service when the bridge opened, and I was on the rubber to Bruce. Well, he left from the pier behind me here. There was 2 piers there. One boat was at the south side, one boat was at the north side, and the other 2 were in the middle. So that when your neighbour was coming into the north side, you were leaving. And when you got to the south side and unloaded and loaded again, the other boat was coming in to chase you out again.
4 lanes of traffic from here up, right out to the anchor gates. I started on the ferries when I was 15, and I was there until the service finished, and fair enjoyed it.
Between them, former ferry skippers Jim Taylor and Stephen Reid served almost 40 years carrying passengers between North and South Queensferry.
When they first mentioned a bridge, I thought, right, it's times I was thinking about something else.
Well, you just accepted there was going to be a bridge there. Everybody kept talking about it, but it seemed to come on very sudden.
My father had a kiosk on the pier that sold teas and coffees and everything. You were very busy in the morning with the people going to Edinburgh and coming over from Edinburgh.
You took roughly 30 cars. You could take lorries, buses, caravans, and passenger, of course. Every day was different, every trip was different. You had different traffic, different weather conditions. Come down from Edinburgh by bus, never had cars. Cross on the ferry, that was the Sunday trip. I looked round the village, boat back and a bus to Edinburgh again. That was the Sunday out.
We had very many regular travellers, hundreds of regular travellers. You know, you didn't know their names. You looked at the car coming down the pier and said, oh, here's a tea without milk and a pie or whatever they wanted. You know, you had it ready for them. Probably around about the early 50s, it began to be mooted that there was going to be a bridge in the future. So it just was a very real fear that we were going to lose our livelihood eventually.
The queues for the ferry boats, especially at weekends, used to come right along the front, right along the prom.
The traffic was enormous at this side. Traffic going south. We were running half the night trying to clear the traffic.
They'd been trying for at least 200 years to get a bridge or a tunnel to cross the Forth, because they were aware that this was a main link between the south of Scotland and the Highlands.
Going back a bit to the early 50s, you could sit at the pier for 15 minutes and leave with nothing. Nobody had cars. But then all of a sudden everybody had cars, and we just couldn't cope.
Cars, for the first time, really became available to working class population. Before that, you had to be rich to own a car.
You could see they needed a bridge. It was hopeless.
On the day the bridge opened, the ferry service, which had sailed across the Firth of Forth for generations, closed forever.
We'd been warned long enough. I mean, it took 4 or 5 years to build the bridge anyway, so you kind of knew that something was going to have to change.
It was a sad day when the ferries finished. The 4 boats lay here for about a week between these pillars, these piers out there, and they looked very sad. You know, that was finished so early with them.
When the bridge opened, The pier shop, the kiosk on the pier had to close after 21 years. So it was a big part of our lives. I mean, we lived down there really, and all of our family worked. My mother and father, my sister, myself, did work in it, you know.
The Mary Queen of Scots, carrying the Queen, was officially the last passage across the Forth. Unofficially, Captain Stephen Reid continued to sail the Robert the Bruce all day, until the last of the queues had dwindled. Later that day, he and the other ferry skippers began collecting tolls on the bridge.
Well, I finished about 6 o'clock, and I was on the bridge about 6:30. I came into the village to get changed and that, and there was a young lad with a motorbike, and I said, "Have you been across Charlie Dewey? Have you been across the bridge, the new bridge, Charlie?" And he says, "No." And I says, "Well, hold on, you're going with me in a minute." And he took me across. And that was the first time we were across there.
After Jim Hendry had